let's start with our number one confidence blocker, and that is self-doubt. Self-doubt is that voice in your head that tells you you're not ready. What if you mess this up? They'll think you're not good enough. They'll think you don't have something worthy to contribute. They are all the voices of self-doubt, okay? We all know that voice. I have that voice still to this very day. I've had that voice in my head for a very long time. But I also know now that that voice is not my truth. That's my inner critic. And there's quite a bit of psychology behind self-doubt and understanding why this is in our brain, why it's there, and the purpose that it's had in the past, but how we can actually work with it for the future. So psychologists explain that inner critic as part of our brain's safety system. So it's actually trying to protect us from rejection, from embarrassment, from failure, and that's why it can feel so very convincing when we hear it speak in our mind. But we can shift it and understand that confidence doesn't start with shutting that voice down, shutting down self-doubt. It actually starts from building self-trust. And this is why this matters. And if you haven't heard me speak about this before, I just really want to reiterate. Self-worth is how much you value yourself, how much you value yourself, not everybody else in your world. Self-trust is your belief that you can handle life. Again, your belief that you can handle life. And together, those two form the foundation of confidence. Your self-worth, your self-trust together equal confidence. If you don't feel worthy, your confidence will feel fragile. If you don't trust yourself, you will always be looking for outside reassurance, somebody else to tell you good job, somebody else to give you permission, somebody else to write your life story. But we need to do the work to grow both components so that together you can be confident. Self-worth, self-trust. Mind shift number one is working with this notion that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who chooses your thoughts. And I know that's very confronting for many people who like to think of, my life is a consequence of all these outside influences, or I'm a victim, but you get to choose your own thoughts. And once you recognize that, it is so empowering because you're back in the driver's seat. Confidence does not come from silencing every single negative thought, but it does come from choosing a more empowering thought on purpose. Tool I want to talk to you today about is naming the critic, and instead listening to your inner coach. That's right, you get to be your own coach. So, naming your inner critic. I call mine La Signora. She's an old, not so nice Italian lady saying, "You're not doing it good," or "You got to be careful, you're going to hurt yourself," such and such and such. Write down 3 common things that your inner critic says, and then meet your inner coach. So mine is Coach Cara. I've got La Signora, I've got Coach Cara, and your coach is your future self. It's the one who has overcome the challenge, and you can reflect and think about what your inner coach, what you as your own coach would say to yourself instead. And then say both out loud. Feel that confidence in your body. So imagine La Signora says to me, "Cara, you've had this great professional career at the UN. Why would you even think about giving that up and becoming a life coach? Who's going to want to listen to you? What have you got to say about this? Better to stick with what's safe and where you can get a good income rather than take the risk." But my inner coach is telling me, "You know what, Cara? You got to live life with no regrets. You can do this. You have valuable life experience. You work from the heart. You have something to share. People may benefit from listening to you and working with you. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work, at least you know you tried." Okay? And you can do the same. Think about your inner critic and then choose, do I want to listen to that one, or do I want to listen to my own inner coach? I am honored for all my clients that choose me as their coach, but something that I am determined to make every single client on my client list walk away with is their own inner coach. They need to be able to handle the day-to-day, and I cannot be there to handhold them in that process. That's what I want you to walk away with today. That practical insight that you can be your own inner coach. So I had a client who was very, very nervous about speaking up in meetings, okay? And I resonate so profoundly with that because that was me for a really long time. My inner critic would tell me, just as this guy's inner critic was telling him, that, you know, you're new in the role and you don't have a lot to share yet. You don't fully understand everything that's going on in this big project, this global project. But if you listen to your inner coach, you could think, well, I got hired for a reason. I obviously know a lot about the project and the project plan is not yet finalized, so I can't actually know every detail, but what I can do is give an update to everybody else to get their feedback and to be able to make this grow and work better. That's the inner coach talking. I have something to share. I trust that I'm growing in the process. My self-worth is based on having knowledge, having experience. And by sharing that with them, I'm contributing something. And that's that confidence that comes through. So by recognizing when your inner critic is speaking to you and just listening out for it, already you're one step ahead. You're one step ahead in terms of being able to identify those thoughts, identify those confidence dips, and choose to reframe them towards your more confident self. You can start practicing this already today. Sit and note down those confidence dips that you have, those repetitive voices in your head. Understand you don't need to be confident 100% of the time, but that you do need to choose what thought patterns you will follow and which you are ready to let go of. Your challenge is every time that critic speaks, say hello to it. Ciao, signora, come va? You know, hi, signora, how are you? Hi, madam, how are you? Okay? But I don't need to listen to her every moment of every day. I can instead coach myself to think, Cara, what do you choose in this moment? Where do you want to take this? What do you honestly think? When you're on your deathbed and you've got some just last breaths left of life, am I going to look back with regret and say, oh, I didn't try so I could stay safe? Or I gave it a shot because I knew that I was worth it and I had trust in myself that I had something to contribute. And that is how we grow self-trust, and that is how we grow self-confidence.